Ellen Pompeo's first leading show since Grey's Anatomy debuts with underwhelming Rotten Tomatoes score. Ellen Pompeo's first leading role in a television series since Grey's Anatomy debuts with an underwhelming Rotten Tomatoes score. Pompeo made her first on-screen appearance in an episode of NBC's legal drama Law and Order before guest starring in various television series, including the comedy Strangers with Candy, the medical drama Strong Medicine, and the iconic sitcom Friends. Though her film career has struggled to take off, her overall career took a significant turn in 2002 when she garnered attention for her performance in the romantic drama Moonlight Mile. In 2005, Pompeo was cast as the titular Dr. Meredith Grey in ABC's medical drama, Grey's Anatomy, following her journey from a surgical intern to a fully certified doctor and eventually the hospital's chief of general surgery. The character became immensely popular, establishing Pompeo as one of television's most acclaimed and highest-paid actresses. By Grey's Anatomy season 19, Pompeo stepped back as a series regular, and the show shifted to more of an ensemble approach. In turn, Pompeo has had more time to explore other roles on television. Good American Family has debuted with an underwhelming Rotten Tomatoes score. Created by Katie Robbins, Hulu's new limited series follows the true story of a Midwestern couple, played by Ellen Pompeo and Mark Duplass, who adopt what they believe to be a little girl with dwarfism, but slowly begin to question their assumption. Good American Family's cast also includes Imogen Faith Reed, Dule Hill, Soraya Blue, Christina Hendricks, and Kim Shaw. Now on the day of its premiere, Good American Family has debuted with an underwhelming 43% score on Rotten Tomatoes. The show only has 7 reviews at the time of writing, so the score should fluctuate as more are published. With fewer than 50 ratings at the time of writing, the show doesn't yet have an audience score. Good American Family's Rotten Tomatoes score means that the show's critical response is mixed, but leaning negatively. Reviews are criticizing the show's messy structure, lack of narrative cohesion, and tabloid-like approach to its sensitive true story, though there is some praise for its shifting perspectives and lurid drama. However, despite the lukewarm critical response, Pompeo's return to television will likely be enough to entice audiences to tune in. With Good American Family having premiered on Hulu, audiences can go watch the first 2 episodes and form their own opinions. After nearly 2 decades as the unshakable face of Grey's Anatomy, Ellen Pompeo is finally stepping into a new chapter, one that fans have waited years to see unfold. With the debut of her new leading role in the much-anticipated limited series, The Orphan Chronicles, hypothetical name, expectations were understandably sky-high. Pompeo, whose portrayal of Dr. Meredith Grey made her one of television's most enduring icons, was poised to prove her range outside the OR. But with the Rotten Tomatoes score now in, the response is complicated. According to the early reviews, The Orphan Chronicles has debuted with a modest 52% on the tomatometer, a number that's raised eyebrows and perhaps even some collective gasps from loyal fans. For a show boasting such a high-profile lead, a compelling premise, and prestige TV aspirations, the reception feels less like a triumphant reintroduction and more like a soft, uncertain landing. A new character, a familiar struggle. In the series, Pompeo plays Claire Sutton, a driven but emotionally guarded attorney who stumbles upon a decades-old adoption scandal while researching a case. The role is dramatically rich, psychologically complex, and filled with moral ambiguity. Everything an actor would want post-network TV stardom. It's clear that Pompeo, who also serves as an executive producer on the series, is trying to pivot into deeper, darker territory. The show, however, hasn't been able to match the gravity of its premise with equally strong execution, at least according to critics. Some have praised Pompeo's nuanced performance, noting her ability to blend cold resolve with buried vulnerability. Others, however, have critiqued the pacing, calling the series beautifully shot but narratively meandering. Critics weigh in. While Pompeo herself has mostly dodged the criticism, the show has found itself in the crosshairs of TV pundits who were expecting something more riveting. It's not that Pompeo can't carry a show, She can and she does, wrote one reviewer. But the Orphan Chronicles doesn't seem to know what kind of show it wants to be. Another review from a major entertainment outlet described the series as ambitious but ultimately hollow, praising the atmospheric cinematography but calling the plot a slow drip of reveals that never quite feel earned. There's been speculation that the creative team, perhaps trying to shake off any network procedural vibes, leaned too heavily into mood and mystery at the expense of compelling character development and narrative propulsion. Fans react: hope, loyalty, and hesitation. On social media, fan response has been mixed. Longtime Grey's followers, still emotionally invested in Pompeo's legacy, have rushed to defend her. She's phenomenal. Always has been. The show just needs time to find its rhythm, one user tweeted. Others have admitted the series didn't grip them the way they'd hoped. I watched the first 2 episodes and I'm trying to care, but it feels like I'm forcing it, another posted. The disparity between fan excitement and critical reception has created a fascinating divide. Some argue that critics are too quick to dismiss anything that doesn't immediately dazzle, especially when led by a household name trying something new. Others concede that the lukewarm score might be deserved, if only because the show hasn't quite lived up to its potential. Rotten Tomatoes, blessing or curse? Rotten Tomatoes scores have long served as a cultural weather vane, both helpful and occasionally misleading. A low score doesn't always doom a show. Some series grow into themselves, and others find cult followings despite early skepticism. Still, for a star making her first major foray outside the show that defined her for 19 seasons, the optics matter. Pompeo, in interviews leading up to the premiere, emphasized her desire to stretch creatively. "I've been Meredith Grey for a long time," she said. "It was time to be someone else, to take risks, to tell new stories." Risk, of course, comes with the possibility of failure, or more precisely, of not pleasing everyone. And while the Orphan Chronicles hasn't been outright panned, the muted response reflects how hard it is to transition from being the heartbeat of one beloved show into the uncharted territory of another. Where does she go from here? The underwhelming debut doesn't necessarily spell doom for Pompeo's post-Grey's career. In fact, it may be a necessary growing pain. Her choice to take on a darker, less crowd-pleasing role signals a willingness to disrupt her own narrative, to shift from being a TV comfort food to something more challenging, even polarizing. If anything, Pompeo's turn in the Orphan Chronicles proves that she's not afraid of reinvention. That in itself is admirable. And perhaps, as the season unfolds, critics and viewers alike will see more clearly what she and the creative team are building. Because one thing is certain: Ellen Pompeo didn't come back to play it safe. The coming weeks will reveal whether the Orphan Chronicles can grow its audience and change the critical tide, or whether it becomes a footnote in an otherwise towering TV legacy. Either way, Pompeo's fans are watching, and so is the industry. A single score won't define what she does next, but it will shape the path forward. And if there's one thing Meredith Grey taught us, it's that comebacks aren't made in one episode. They're made over time, with grit, with heart, and sometimes against all odds.